Hey guys, so I saw a question about top stitching and about getting caught up on the corners if you're doing the squared off front and back instead of the rounded ones, and even you may have an issue on the rounded ones. But I have some top stitching to do, so I thought I would top stitch a diaper with you guys. I have it all clipped together and ready to go. Yeah, and I'll just get started. I know the pattern traditionally has the opening on the back wing. I put my opening on the front right here, like next to the front elastic, and I do that because when I sew on my business tag, it would be right here under the opening. And if you need to go in and repair elastics, repair a snap, do something like that, in order to get to anything, I would have to take off my business tag and then open the diaper and then do all of that. And then alternatively, if I had put my opening on this side, you have the crossover snap. So now I'd have to take off the crossover snap. You see where I'm going? So for me, it's just easier to have it in the front. Yeah. So I zigzag all of my elastics down in the seam allowance. So I guess you guys will see me go around the elastics as well. I start, let me see if I can zoom you guys in a little. I start at the back elastic on the left side. I also move my needle position as far left as it will go. So I'm going to go back and forth a couple times here. Right, and then I'm going to leave my needle down, lift my foot, and pivot. And I use 3/8 inch elastic for my back elastic and leg elastic, and I use 1/4 for the front. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of smoothing down the fabric around the elastic. And then I will position the edge of my fabric here on the, whatever this mark is here. It's like right out from 3/8, but it's enough to give plenty of room in my elastic casing for springing and all of that. So I'm pulling my elastic straight so that I don't catch it, and I'm just gonna start going across here. So I'm coming up on my elastic mark, so I'm going to stop right under it, leave my needle down, lift the foot and pivot again, and then come forward and stop. And now I can pivot again and continue top stitching to the edge of the wing. So can you guys see where I have everything here? Where can I might have to take you guys out for a second. So I have my edge of my fabric lined up with the inside of this clear piece on my presser foot. And having it right here and having the needle like right on the very edge. Whenever you get to the corners, it does make it kind of difficult because you don't have that extra fabric under the rest of the foot to kind of help push it. So I make a bumper, and I will show you guys my bumper. This is my bumper. It is just a piece of 1-inch fold over elastic, and I have just cut a chunk, folded it over, stitched it down, and nothing fancy. I'm gonna keep going here. So my needle is down, I'm gonna lift and pivot, and I'm just gonna slide my bumper. You guys probably can't really see that well, but I'm gonna slide my bumper under the back of my presser foot, and then I'm going to, like with this finger, help push this and encourage it to get caught in these feed dogs and go backwards, or go back with it to clear that corner. If you see it starting to bunch, you may just have to lift your foot and smooth it out, and then do that again. And now I can move that and keep going around my corner. And then same down here. Help push. Go around to this elastic. Alright, and then I'm going to pivot and make the start of my casing. So I'm holding the front of the diaper with my right hand and pulling this elastic flat and just kind of smoothing everything out. And I put extra clips on here because sometimes whenever you zigzag the elastic down in the seam allowance, your inner kind of wants to flip out a little, and this just kind of helps hold everything in place. So I have the edge of my diaper lined up with the line that I use on the plate there. And you just want to make sure that your elastic is stretched out the whole time that you are going down this casing. And one of the good things about having the elastic zigzag down is you don't have to worry about it, because there's another way to do your elastic. You can tack just the front and the back of it down, and then make your casing as you go around, and don't zigzag the whole length of it down. You just do this, the ends. But whenever you do that, it's just kind of free moving around in here, and it's really easy to catch in your casing whenever you go around. So having it zigzag down, you know that it's not going to get in your way whenever you go to top stitch, as long as you're making your casing wide enough. So I'm at my elastic point. Now I will say that trying to top stitch PUL and wicking jersey tends to be a bit harder than trying to top stitch like 2 layers of PUL. Just because the 2 layers of PUL gives it a little bit more stability, and this, it's still so flimsy, you kind of really have to push it to go. So I usually only do like once or twice. I'll lift my pressure foot and get rid of any bunching, and then I'll keep going. And this is my, you guys see, this is my turn hole right here. So I have both of my layers nice and tucked under to make a nice closed seam here. And then I'm gonna come up to my front elastic. Now with my front elastic, since I only use 1/4 inch, I will line up the edge of my fabric just with the edge of the foot here, since my needle is so far over to the left. And when I put my presser foot back down on this one, it does kind of land the back of it on a snap. So I hold this really still so that it doesn't like jump on me whenever I press the presser foot. Otherwise, the foot just kind of slips and slides right off of that snap and makes a big jump of a stitch. So then you end up with a really long stitch right here at your casing. And that's not fun to try to go back and fix. So I just really make sure I have that nice and tight there so it doesn't jump that stitch. So I have my bumper again. Is it easier if I like tilt you guys to the side? Not that this is easier for me, but you know. And see how it's like starting to bunch right there? So I'll just lift my presser foot and kind of smooth things back out. So I'm coming up to my elastic mark, needle down, lift the foot and pivot. And whenever you go to like turn your corner to make your casing, I know that I have to go out 3 times to give myself enough room for the casing. That's just because I choose a longer stitch, like width or length, whenever I top stitch. So yours may not be the same as mine if you choose to top stitch with a shorter or a wider stitch length. So you just kind of have to play around with it after you do it a few times and you know what you like and what works. It just kind of comes second nature. You know, you have to go out so many stitches and come back in so many stitches. Sorry if I'm like going crazy here. I have to go around this tripod to try to smooth everything out, and it's a little awkward. And to smooth, I don't know if you guys can see, like if this is tucking up like this on your diaper, I just take my thumb underneath and slide it under, and then, you know, just hold it down nice and tight. And then I'm coming up on my elastic mark. And I've lost my bumper. If I could tell you guys how many times this happens while I'm sewing a diaper. There it is. Okay. Alright, so I'm coming up on my stopping point because I started at this back elastic, so I'm just going to back stitch a few times. And then my machine has a locking stitch, so I'm going to do that. And snip, and I'll trim those. Let me zoom you guys out. So nice and stretchy all around here. Front elastic, and then around the wings, you can see it's all nice and crisp around the wings. So hopefully that is helpful for someone. If you guys have any questions, of course, tag me, and I will get to you whenever I can. I hope you guys have a great night and happy sewing. Bye.